appreciate the opportunity today to present this local use case. I came about this case for training in the Insight Suite some of our local sales staff, and this scenario today is based on that case. Where I work at Insight Street Media, we have a large percentage of our sales is local. It's important for our local sales staff to embrace a more data-driven approach to selling, and as a result, they'll experience a higher win rate and deal size, which is what we want for them. Local sales, they've always been about selling real estate, location, and inventory has typically been selected based on its size, proximity to a physical space or position in a neighborhood that a business may deem important to them. But now we have the ability to identify locations based on audience. And audiences have always been the currency of other media, as we all know, television, radio, print. We can now play in this space as well, and more so than others, be truly accountable and verifiable. If the prospect is buying television, they have the opportunity to amplify their message with out of home, as you're going to see today in the local use case. We're now able to show where the audience is drawing from each unit. We can show the inventory that's outside their directional units that's actually performing higher to target an audience. Next. Our local use case today is going to be targeting a prospect in the Miami area. It's a chiropractic center. This chiropractic center has been there for a while, and in the Miami-Dade DMA, they have a lot of competitors, 14 in fact, within 20 miles. They don't currently utilize out of home. They are leveraging television advertising in particularly Univision. The goal that we have is to demonstrate that outdoor advertising can be used for more than just directional signs. We want to show them how they can spend on out of home for a more efficient reach and a more targeted audience with less wasted campaign dollars.
And Tony, just before we go to the next slide, those goals, like, is that typical when you're local market prospecting? Are those typical goals that you see, or is that unique to this Fisher Chiropractic?
Well, it's for local sales. Typically, they go in with directional signs, and typically local businesses, small, medium businesses, they are looking for signs that are directional in nature.
Okay, cool.
The scenario we have today is our DMA Miami Fort Lauderdale. We are focusing on benches today. We're going to look at different strategies, reaching a more targeted audience, conquesting the competitors' customers, amplifying a current advertising on other formats. As we were talking about, they were advertising on television. We're looking at the Insight Suite for potential target audiences. We looked at the traditional adults 18 plus. We looked at the consumer profile. There are 8,000. We found one that fit. Specialists used in the past 12 months, chiropractor. And also we looked at a population that we wanted to target, speaking Spanish at home. Now we're going into the planning stage. It's really important for our local sales staff to do research before they go in and make any appointments with prospect. It's important to get as much information as they possibly can, going on the website, other information related to the business for the industry. Get to know what it is, where you're going to meet, to find out any information that you can. You can get a lot of information from the website, and that's what we did here in this example. We went to the Fisher Chiropractic website, and we saw several things that popped out on us. One thing, the reviews, Yelp and Google. This client has a great reputation. This conversation that we could have as we are locally selling, Fisher Chiropractic is great, excellent, professional, wonderful staff. Quality of care is unmatched. You're going to feel at home there. So we found all this information, which is a good thing to have in the conversation that we go in with the prospect. Next. We also found that one of the items of importance to them is to target the Hispanic audience. They advertise on Univision. the television channel. We found that off from their website. And also in one of the reviews that came up earlier, we saw that they like to give workshops. They provide a lot of workshops in the community. We did some research on the local sales in various ways. We looked at different information about this industry. We saw that current travel distance for routine care is 8.6 miles for all adults. We also saw that Miami-Dade residents spend a lot of time driving, average 32.6 minutes a day behind the wheel. There are many, many motorcycle crash or motor vehicle crashes, including motorcycles, annually in Miami. It's quite high. And so that could be a great catalyst for those who seek chiropractic care. So we just found out all this information about the client before we go in for the appointment.
And I think this is really interesting for me, like just not, just, I know we focus a lot of times on the data that the Geopath Insights can provide, but also I like the idea of how you're talking about, like, it's about looking at the landscape, understanding what other points of information can help inform the conversation as well.
We learned so much from that appointment because we may go a different direction, but we're going to go in and show some capabilities and some opportunities that we're able to target, and they may add to that during this conversation.
Right. And I would imagine clients appreciate this, that you've put some effort in to understand their business and try to understand the category in general as well.
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. So now we're looking at the market landscape. We're looking at our Miami market, and I use the Places module to plot out Fisher Chiropractic Center on the map. I also looked at the competitors using the Places module as well, and you can see there are a lot of competitors within close proximity to the clinic.
Right.
Looking back at the research, we found people that were traveling 8.6 miles for routine care. Using the Radius tool on the platform, I was able to show that proximity, and you can see that within that proximity, there's some direct competitors.
Right, right. Yeah. So you can see, like, even though there are 20 in the market, they're really probably all competing with each other for this group is probably competing with each other for the similar audience, so to speak, right?
Could be, unless they're all related.
Great.
All right, so now we're looking at our bench inventory throughout Miami-Dade. And like I said, I didn't bring the shelter inventory into this use case. I'm just using benches. We have about 2,000 benches in this area. And then within the radius, you're seeing our bench coverage as well as the competitors. This would be our local sales strategy, directional signs. Here are 4 units that are very close. And, a lot of times that's what prospects are interested in. They want their directional signs. They want, especially if there are a lot of competitors in the area, they want to stand out.
And is this what would typically happen? Like you'd have like 3 or 4 right around their office? Is that how it would typically, that would be like an initial buy, or what they think about a home initially?
Initial conversation, yes. It depends on the budget, of course, but they could be targeting other areas. They could be targeting other, the competitors, but typically, yes, directional signs near the business.
Okay. Cool.
So what we're looking at right now is a specific unit. So we're looking at the fact that each unit actually has information about it, and you're able to go in here, and that's what you're seeing here. The first top 4 zips that are drawing audience from other areas than where it's located. There's your unit, the black dot, and the audience that is actually drawing from is from other zip codes. The larger or the darker purple are the highest. So we're getting much more from that directional sign than as it appears.
And so do you think this type of, so being able to map out the audience, like, so yes, you have those 4 units that are close by, but does this help change the mindset around out of home that show like, okay, well, even though it's just outside my office, I'm actually reaching people who live in a lot of different places?
Yes, and it would also be part of the conversation because, what audience are they interested in reaching? Is this unit going to provide them with more than that directional sign? Is that the audience that they want? Or should we advertise in another location based on the audience that they want to go after? So it's not about the location so much. It's more than that. There's more to the story.
Right, right.
It's more to the story. So here's another example of another one of those directional signs that are drawing from another audience. And this audience happens to be, where there are a lot of competition. So they may want to add on to this buy with not just the directional, but more inventory in this area where their competition is.
Right. Cool.
We're going to start with the adults 18 plus, which is your traditional approach for targeting. In the Inside Suite, I'm pulling inventory, the adults 18 plus. It's very easy to get to on population age, and you pick the age, and I pulled the top 50 benches for this demographic.
And is that typical, like top 50, like using 50 for this type of inventory? Would that be a typical amount that you might go in? Would you do more or less? Or?
Well, for benches, we usually go in for larger buys, but I would say that it would be, it's a conversation started based on the budget on what they are interested in. So if they want full coverage in Miami, it'd be a lot more than that, but the top 50 benches for adults 18 plus is kind of like a starter.
Okay, jumping off point. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes. So now here's our target, our consumer profile. Prior to the appointment, doing my research, checking out the different consumer profiles in the Inside Suite, found the specialist used past 12 months chiropractor, selected that, went in and pulled the top 50 for this demographic. People that have visited a chiropractor over the last 12 months. This is great. We found that this really was some great coverage here, actually near Fisher Chiropractic as well.
Right.
We found that they provided workshops, in their research. So they may want to use these units to target the current customers or people that have used a chiropractor in the last 12 months to target their ad for those workshops or advertise in front of their competition.
Right, that's a good point because those people might be more receptive already. They're already receptive to chiropractic care, so they may be more open to kind of wanting to go to those workshops and be receptive to the advertising.
Yes, and if you look at the metrics on the right.
Right, yeah, and then I also, as we were doing this case, I also found that really interesting, right? Because you look at the target comp, 12%, so among that audience, 12% of all the inventory in that top 50 is reaching that particular audience. So they're fairly efficient. You can see the index are over-indexing by 21% for reaching that particular audience. So they do seem like they're really efficient units for reaching those that have been to a chiropractor in the last 12 months.
Yes.
Cool.
And this is another example of where a unit, and this is the unit that person's been to a chiropractor the last 12 months, they're getting so much more from this unit based on audience. So there's once again, the top 4 zips of where the audience is drawing from is more than what you're seeing. So here's the unit, and it's drawing from audience in other zips besides where it's at. So you're not only getting that target of that consumer profile, but you have more to it too. You're adding more audience to that.
Right. And I think this one's really interesting too, just where the heavy zip codes are. It's far off in the kind of area of the top 50, but it is really drawing audience from places right around the Fisher Chiropractic as well as some of the competitors.
Yes. The units can reach beyond the location and conquest the competitors. Right. And, it's another part of the conversation. It's important that, if they're what's the audience, who are they wanting to target? And so that to know the market, and most local salespeople, they know their market inside and out. They'll be able to talk more to the story as far as what this dark purple means, who lives here, who lives there, and just have this for a conversation during this meeting.
Right, cool. And so the next.
So here's our target for speaking Spanish at home. So we were able to go in and select this audience from the Insight Suite in the language area of population, demographics, language, and we're able to pull the top 50 benches. And this was an eye-opener for us. We picked the top 50 benches for speaking Spanish at home, and you could see in the North Miami area where they were located. They were advertising on Univision television, so they wanted to promote Spanish, that they provided the Spanish speaking ability. They want to target this group. Here's a high percentage of them, and look at the metrics on the right.
Right. Yeah. So even way over indexing for reaching the target of speaking Spanish at home. So that's a really significant, index, and speaks to the efficiency at reaching that target.
Yes, definitely. And, one of the things that we found, it was like an eye opener for us, that it was a surprise, knowing this market, that this area was always considered as very strong African-American demographic. And now we're looking at it in a little different way. And so just to understand through the metrics that this is a high area right here, over indexing for those that speak Spanish at home.
Okay, cool. And just a couple more units showing the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, where they're beyond where they're located.
Yeah, and these even in particular, I'm going to skip back a slide too. Like, I feel like these even more so like spread across the whole DMA pretty significantly.
Exactly. So here we are putting it all together.
Oh.
We've got your 18 plus. You've got your consumer profile of those people that have visited a chiropractor the last 12 months. The Spanish speaking at home. And, this just opens up the door as far as providing so much more in the campaign for a prospect, a local prospect, to, it's beyond selling traditional units, that they're providing the business with a lot more advertising opportunities to target the audience and actually amplify in this case, their TV advertising.
And so, like, as you're having these conversations with Fisher Chiropractic, would these be distinct plans, or would it be, would you ultimately like pick some from each of the different strategies? How would that work typically, or what would be the next kind of conversation you would have with them?
Well, I think it would be a total package here, because when we're selling benches, we're selling large packages, and this would be, this is coverage we're looking at. The next step for us, and maybe that's another use case, the next step for us is to transfer this to availability. So we're going to talk to the customer about, how great this plan is, this campaign targeting the audience. They may have another audience to add to it. They may want something else. But in the end, we're going to look and see, what's available for them based on this, these audiences, and then we're going to come back and bring that to the table. But if this was 150 locations and they're all available, I mean, that's a typical bench buy. That's a norm for a bench buy.
Really, 150? That's great.
Plus.
Okay, cool. And just one other question that I just thought of. Like, when you are talking with some in this kind of local market prospecting situation, are there certain things that are important for them? Is it really just about audience reach? Do they tend to ask about metrics so much, or what are the things that might be important for them as they're considering? And I get it may be unique to particular clients or customers, but I just wondered if there's, a trend you see there.
Well, I think this is new to local sales, and that's why I think it's important to show them how we could use the data to help with more than just a typical traditional sale. More and more, they're starting to use the language. I think that it's important for our local sales to understand what goes into it, and to understand what composition is, to understand what they're getting as far as the index, that they could show, like, their local customer that there's so much more to what they're buying. In fact, as an example of that, recently I was talking to one of my local customers who owns also some bulletins, and it's interesting for them to see that where they're advertising already on these bulletins and on these bus shelters, that they're getting so much more than what they thought they were getting as far as audience goes. It's not just the unit, it's more than that.
Right.
So I think it's a learning curve for a lot of locals, and that's why I think more and more of this is so important for the local sales to understand, and making it so easy to use so they could just use it every day. I think that will help.
Cool, great. And it sounds like just in some of the conversations we've had in preparing this, that you'll be using this to actually have meetings with Fisher Chiropractic, hopefully soon.
Yes, we certainly will be. The general manager down in Miami is very familiar with this and Fisher, and so we will be able to share a success story with you soon.
I was going to say, hopefully, yeah. We'd love to hear about how that meeting goes at some point.
Definitely. Why not? This is
Right.
This is great information.
Right. And thank you for that, Tony. And I just want to pause and just see if there's any questions that have come in. I know there's been one or two ones that Brian's been able to handle, just answering them directly. But if you have any questions, please reach out to us right now. As I'm giving you time to do that, I just want to talk about our next sessions coming up in September, our Insights training sessions. So we're going to get back on our normal last Thursday and Friday of the month schedule. I know over the summer it's been a little bit different. Again, we wanted to make sure we were accommodating travel and things like that. We know a lot of times on Fridays in the summer, people are either having a summer Friday or something like that. So we'll do our foundational session Thursday, September 26th, and then Friday, September 27th will be the advanced level. And soon after that, on October 1st, the things will go live, and so we'll look to maybe transition how we're going to do these sessions a little bit again when we start to get into October. But do want to keep the same schedule for September. So Thursday, September 26th, and Friday, September 27th for the two sessions. So just want to check in quick with Brian. Any questions that might have come in?
Yeah, somebody said, is the mapping that was shown in the presentation able to be done in the Insight Suite?
Oh yeah, yes. So all of the maps we were able to do in the Insight Suite, and I know we were purposely just wanting to talk about the data itself, but yes, that's where we were able to pull all of the data and map all of the data in the Insight Suite. Any other questions?
Yeah, somebody asked about selling street furniture before and after being able to use this kind of data and how that has expanded and helped. I don't know if Tony can sort of speak to that, but.
Well, I could add to that, this is new. We haven't even released it yet, but I've been gearing up the staff and providing a lot more information now in the Insight Suite, so they're able to use this more and more. And I think that answer is probably going to come in the next 6 months, because this is something that our local sales are using now, and it's going to be more and more so, especially when the training modules get rolled out. I believe we're going to see more in the next 6 months.
Great.
Somebody had a question. How long is the average bench buy?
How long? Oh, we do 3 years.
Oh wow, really?
3 years, many 3-year programs.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
Oh yes. That was our goal like a few years ago, to do 3-year programs, and in the beginning nobody thought it was going to happen, but when it's a goal, it's a goal, and we have many 3-year programs.
Great, cool. Great. Any other questions, Brian?
No, not right now.
Great. Well, just want to say thank you again, Tony, for joining us and working with us on this use case. I think it was really great. And hopefully everyone on the call, got some really great and valuable information out of this. This will be available shortly on our Geek Out page of our website. You scroll down to the Out of Home Office Hours. Here's a screenshot. This is where you can look at past sessions and also click through to our YouTube channel to get to all of our other sessions. But the one from yesterday is already up on the site, and this one will probably be up by the end of the day today, if not tomorrow morning. And again, just one plug, if you want to be on one of these sessions and have a use case that you think would be really interesting to talk about and that you'd like to share with the industry, please reach out to us at geekout@geopet.org. We'd love to have a lot of different voices and a lot of different types of use cases on these sessions. So we're always happy and excited to work with anybody on these. And just again, want to say thank you to everybody for joining, and thank you again to Tony for
Thank you.
working with us. Great. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.